Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Alright, good. Hello everyone, welcome to round 9 of PSGL F2 season. Round 9 brings us to the land of the rising sun. It is the Japanese Grand Prix and qualifying is underway. Rainy, dreadful conditions, so let's see how these drivers react to it. Waiting on any calls, see about the weather progression, if we're going to see some dry racing today or if it's going to be wet. Excuse the silence for just one moment as I post some stuff on Twitter. Racing Stripes TV welcomes you today. Still getting the hang of the new rebranding, so bear with me, but yes. Very exciting, ready to go racing. Sorry, just give me one quick second. Let me just pull up some information as far as standings go and whatnot. And Remco's already out, so Remco will be starting at the back of the field. He's not ready for the wet weather conditions, but here we go. CC Brain so far on top of the 143.9. Johnny right behind him with a 146. And King Mick setting, as we see people setting times now, getting their times in for the first couple of laps. And, oh, we have a Red Bull go into the wall. He's going to lose part of his left wing there. That was Lewis in the Red Bull. Last week in Belgium, at Spa, both Lewises collided in the first lap, and they were constantly battling with each other as he dives into the pits as Lewis in the Williams sets the fastest lap of qualifying thus far with a 1:43.145 as Dougie Antonio sets a 1:47. Lico Block sets a 1:44.999, just inside the 1:45 mark, but he is looking to improve that. And as he goes, a little bit of Tokyo drifting. Looks like around the first corner there. Holding it together nice and easy. Let's go on to LRC Gaming. Thanks for stopping on by. We have cautions in Sector 1. And is that B-More? No. Speaking of B-More, I was actually right on board with him. And Johnny has retired from qualifying. Into the wall. Going around R1 or 130R, excuse me. Just bend it. And yep. Speaks for itself. So Johnny will finish with a time of 1:46.047 as his team gets ready to prepare his car for race time. So we just have 5 minutes left. Let's ride on board with B-More. Looks like he's having a hard time controlling his car. Very loose. See him fighting the wheel there. Especially going up that uphill left-hander. Just got to be really careful on the throttle. You see multiple cars diving into the pits. While we're on board with B-More, let's go over the driver standings as of now. Where Blocks is just leading Lewis, the Williams Lewis that is, by 8 points. CC Brain, oh excuse me, not last week, but that's 2 weeks ago. We're in round 10. Shoot, what round are we in? Are we in round 10 or 9? I did miss one, huh? Oh, because that's right, it was Malaysia, or Singapore. This is round 10. Silly me. This is round 10. Which means I gotta fix that tweet too. Crap. Just forgot. No, I'll fix it later. So we have cars in the pits pretty much. We have B-More stills out there with a 148. We do see someone trying to call me. And we see a Red Bull coming out. Do see cars put on intermediates, so looks like some cars doing some last chances on the intermediates, hoping to set a faster time. So we'll see as these cars come out, and hopefully B-More will have enough time to get to the pits. But he just is starting a new lap, and hopefully he's able to come back. That is the caution in sector 2, as Blocks is on his outlap along with King Mick right behind him. Expect times to get faster. We have Skeven as well. JD still in the pit. Hellboy also on his outlap as well. You have a caution in sector 1 on the S's. Looks like there's a Mercedes turned around there. I'm sure that was a Mercedes of Hellboy, but he gets it back around, ready to go. So there's 3 races left in round 10. Block is leading Lewis by 8 points. Then we have CC Brain by 31 points, followed by King Mick. So actually the 2 Ferraris, if I'm not mistaken, are tied for 3rd, as they're both racing in the Constructors Championship as well, but they're tied in the drivers. It's going to be very interesting, as Blocks is letting the other drivers just go on by so he can try to get as much track over as possible without having to worry about the cars behind him. There's Lewis as he's swerving. He's trying to get some heat in those tires, and he's just kind of just waiting, biding his time. We have Skeven going through the Casio Triangle. That's what that section is called, according to the map that I'm looking on. And he's on the intermediates to see what time he's going to set as he crosses the line, unless he's just starting his time. Looking like it. Unless there's an invalidated lap, which would make sense. Looks like Lewis is gonna begin his lap now. We have all these cars starting their lap. B-More still on the west, so a lot of cars to keep an eye out for, as we just have less than 1 minute of qualifying left before we go green flag racing. Over in the constructor standings, Toro Rosso leading Red Bull just by 18 as Hellboy crashes out. Now we have all these cars. They're all all ready to go. They're all on their flying lap. Well, they're starting their flying lap right now, excuse me. And here comes Blocks. He's actually in the draft of King Mick there in front of him, trying to get some speed. There's Brain. And Lewis actually leading everyone, so Lewis is going to be the first one across as B-More finishes with a 1:48.127. JD finishes with a unvalidated lap time. So we'll be following all these cars as they go around. And there's KB Killer Zone. Skeven setting a fast time with a 1:42.457. There's Lewis. He's trying to set a fast time as well, as he is going to enter in the Casio Triangle chicane section as he goes around the last curve. Let's see what he's going to get. And he's going to set a 1:42.520. That's going to put him in second for now. And it locked me in. Gosh dang it. I need to fix that too. Dougie Antonio sets a new fast lap of 1:42.041, but we're going to see these times coming in quicker and quicker as they start coming across the line. And I can't do crap, so we're going to have to sit. KB sets a 1:41.752. CC Brain with a 1:40.9. King Mick, Lewis, and Lewis in the Williams goes second fastest, and Bugatti crosses as well. So KB coming out of nowhere to snatching the pole away in the wet, but let's see if the race conditions are similar to what we have. So here we go. The official qualifying standings, we have CC Brain, Lewis in the Williams, KB, Dougie Antonio, Blocks, Skeven, Lewis in the Red Bull, King Mick, Johnny, B-More, Bugatti, JD, and Little Remco and Hellboy. So 14 drivers line up today for the Japanese Grand Prix, and we just wait and see how things pan out. Remember, 8 points separate between first and second the drivers, between Blocks and Lewis. That's Lewis and the Williams. As we wait on the players to finish up their setups and they get ready to go. Those of you coming in, thanks for joining me. I'm the Zebra94, streaming for Racing Stripes TV for PlayStation Gaming League. Formula 2, round 10, so ignore what you see. It's not round 9, it's round 10. Alright, so here we go, 27 laps. And let's go over the starting grid. The Japanese Grand Prix. JD was disqualified from the session, but that's just going to simply just put him back. Just going to be chilling at the start. So here goes CC Brain. Let's take a look at their cockpit. We have CC Brain, P1, Lewis in the Williams, P2, starting ahead of the leader Lickle Blocks. Let's call them Blocks for short. It's actually... yeah, there we go. Then we have KB in the Sahara Force India, Doug Antonio in the Sauber, Blocks, your current driver's point leader, P5, And starting on the mediums, looks like a dry race from the start. We do see some clouds in the area. Drivers are hoping that it will stay that way for the rest of these 27 laps. As drivers make their way around Spoon on their formation laps, Steven starting in 6th in the Haas Motorsports. And we have Lewis in the Red Bull. And P7, King Mick, the fastest of the wet tire qualifiers, he's starting in P8. Then we have Johnny, who crashed out early in qualifying. He'll be starting in P9. Then we have B Moore in the Haas as well. Bugatti and JD chilling at the starting line. And we have Remco and Hellboy rounding off as we wait for the cars to line up on their respective places in their grid. We have a migrating of hosts. Remco has left the session, so I wonder if we're going to get a restart or if we're going to get one-shot qualifying. We shall see. But for now, it's going to be 5 red lights. And away we go. We now have 13, 14 cars all battling for position into the first corner as Brain leads them into turn 1 and 2 as we go through the middle. Here comes Ugly Antonio making a move on Little Blocks. Little Blocks is going to drop a position. No, he's going to gain a position. They're battling side by side as you go through the S curves. There's Lewis and the Red Bulls fighting off King Mick. As we go back, Johnny in P9, B Moore 10th, JD 11th. JD and Hellboy gained up 2 positions while Bugatti and Remco lost a couple of positions. But other than that, everyone in the front has just stayed the same as CC Brain is trying to blast off into the Japanese sunset. Or sun, actually. That's really setting nonetheless. As Lewis trying to separate himself, and Bugatti has retired from the session, crashed it, coming out of corners 8 and 9. That's the Dejner curve. It's very kind of a tricky, technical, fast corner, and Wasik coming out of turn 9. So unfortunate for him as his race ends early. But the rest of the cars carry on. But we have a battle here between Antonio, Blocks, and Skeven trying to get into the mix as they go around 130R. They're approaching it anyway. Blocks have to take a little bit of wider line, but Skeven actually kind of backed off there as KB moves up position past Lewis. That's actually going to help Blocks as they're in a very tight title battle for first place in the driver standings. So as long as Lewis can finish ahead of Blocks, it's going to narrow the gap. But here comes Skeven on the inside. They do a little touch, but Skeven's actually going to gain the position there. And here comes Skeven. He's going to try to move on the inside of Antonio, and he does as he moves up 2 spots. And Hellboy again moving up 5 spots just like he did back in Spa a couple weeks ago. Last time I called the race as Lewis. He's making his way through as well. And we have a drop in King Mick. I wonder what happened there. Looks like a little bit of tire smoke. Probably got into the grass and lift off the throttle there just a bit. But we go back up to the front. So because of that battle, Lewis is able to take off. And looks like Skeven dropped back just a bit. And Blocks trying to battle his way up through, just 3/10 behind Antonio. As they enter in Spoon, again, only 8 points separate. So on board with Blocks, see if he can get into the draft. Interesting thing about the Suzuka circuit here in Japan, there's only one DRS zone, and that is the main straight. He's going to hold it in well. And Antonio's actually going to dive down into the pits on lap 3, so I wonder what happened. He must have had some wing damage. So let's actually take a look at him. He goes into the pits. Let's see what's happened to the Sauber driver. Yep, nose cone change, just like I expected. So some contact there, which is why Skeven dropped down so much. But oh, we have Hellboy and CC Brain as they collide hard. And Johnny getting a 3-second warning. CC Brain dropping from pole position down to 8th place, and he's going to have to go in and get a wing change as well, and I'm pretty sure Hellboy has to do the same, so they collided. And Block's getting a 5-second stop-and-go penalty for corner cutting. And Hellboy not happy. Looks like he tried to take out CC Brain. Caught that on camera, buddy. Sorry about that. So, not inadvertently, he straight up just knocked himself out and not going to be happy. Actually could very well potentially even be a race ban. We will see what happens. So Bugatti and Hellboy out of the race. But here comes Johnny. He's got a 3-second penalty. There's King Mick. He's right behind B-More. He's on the Super Softs trying to pass B-More down the straight to 130R. So let's see what happens on board with the Ferrari driver. We have a new leader in KB. King Mick got the better line through the Casio triangle. As he's going to go on the inside, he's going to have DRS. DRS is now activated. Side by side, and JD has retired. B-More makes the pass, and Johnny could not do the same, and Lickle blocked, along with Lewis. They're out of the race as well. What on earth is going on? Brain has retired, and we must have got a restart call. Yes, we do have a restart. Yes, so we are restarting. So waiting on new invitations now. So unfortunate for that. I was wondering why people were just crashing left and right. But it is definitely going to be a restart. And there's the invite. So bear with us. I figured that when Remco migrated hosts, we were going to get a restart. So that was tough side-by-side action. So just a little taste of what we got. Now we wait. Looks like we're going with one-shot qualifying. Those of you just joining, we're doing grid editor. We're trying to figure out, trying to get the original grid set back up. We had to do a restart, some connection issues with the host. So we're about ready to get started very soon, it looks like. Yeah, T-minus 30 seconds. It's just going to be a straight off the line restart pretty much. And we will be ready to go in about 10 seconds time. And here we go, we're on the loading screen, we'll be ready to go racing. Hopefully second time we'll be good to go. Now we wait. It's going to be no formation lap. It's going to be straight off the grid. We're getting ready to go very, very shortly. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Racing Stripes TV. Follow me on Twitter at thezebra94. Join us at PlayStationGamingLeague.com. Or PlayStation GL, right? Hold on, I even forgot the gosh dang name of it. Yes, PlayStationGL.com. Free to sign up. Do a Formula 1 divisions. We do Project Cars 2. We do Rocket League. We do like a little bit of everything else. I believe there's a Gran Turismo Sport series coming up soon as well. So if you have that game, sign on up. It's free to go. So here we go. 5 red lights. And away we go. It's about the same start as last time, but this time we have cars squabbling as they go over into the first corner, as we have JD as he moves up 2 positions. Cars side by side as they go turn 1. Cars 3 wide in the back, it looks like. Here comes Johnny. Oh, they touch with the Toro Rosso as Johnny gets booted into the gravel area, looks like. Doesn't look, maybe he's saying some damage. We'll take a look back as Remco keeps it safe thus far, and JD moves up 3 positions, and we have side by side as King Mick takes the place away from Lewis, and or not. He was just fine a little while ago, so fortunately for him, get some lag of some sorts. That's not so good. So here we go on board with Skeven as little as Blocks and KB are battling out, and we have getting some lag really bad here. It was just fine, but Skeven loses control of his car. What's going on? On board with Mick as we look at Blocks and Zone and KB battling for position. Brain leads the first lap. Lewis and Williams still in second. Antonio up to 3rd, looking to score his first points of the season. Johnny goes into the pits. Lewis and the Williams dropping down to 14th along with Skeven. He's in the pits as well. Lap 1 is complete. As they complete the S-curves, just about anyway. On lap 2, Blocks trying to pass Zone, who lost spot to Antonio, but he's trying to catch up to the 2 leaders now, as Brain is trying to separate himself a lot further now. Looks like Mick got the better run, it looks like, as he closed the gap just a bit on blocks. And Mick getting one awesome of an entry in the spoon, but had to check up as blocks didn't get a good entry and had to check up just a bit. But here we go, he's in the draft as they approach 130R. Let's see if he can hold on to it now. Take a look at the tires everyone started on. Race control has just enabled DRS at this beginning of lap 3, but since there's only one DRS zone, I'll be able to use it next time around. They're on the straight. And with this little battle, Zone is actually starting to get ahead just a bit. The Brain starting on the super softs, Lewis in the mediums, Antonio in the softs. So a little bit of different strategies playing for these drivers. The pit strategies is going to come in, tire management as well. King Mick on the super soft. So Bloxton's main actually, he knows he has pace. He's actually going to try to run King Mick a little hard here, but King Mick just goes around Blocks like it's nothing. But let's see if Blocks can get him on the inside after the hairpin. Does not look like he can do it. So now Mick getting past Blocks, and now he has eyes set on KB Killer Zone. So let's see what happens there in the next couple laps or so as we move just back to the Toro Rosso driver of JD. This team is currently leading the Constructors' Championships by just 18 points. Red Bull is right behind them, along with Ferrari and Red Bull are tied for second. So Constructors as well as Drivers' Championship, they're very much close. With just 3 laps to go. But let's see if Little Blocks can get on the power. King Mick is also on DRS, as Lewis has crashed. Unfortunately, King Mick runs wide off turn 1, and that's going to give the spot back to Blocks, as now he's closing in on Zone. Unfortunate for him, but he's able to rejoin safely, and Lewis has binned it, unfortunately, in the Red Bull. So Red Bull will only be able to score one amount of points, unfortunately, because that would have actually really helped out for them in the Constructors' Championships, as it looks like Toro Rosso only has 1 driver today. Ferrari could actually very well take it, with the Ferrari driver sitting 1st and 8th. Going back down here, Blocks trying to catch up to KB, and there's JD right behind him as well. Hellboy is actually, Mick right on the rear of Bugatti now, as Hellboy, he's going to try to get in this picture too, as well as B-More. He's kind of back there too, waiting on one of these 3 to make a mistake and ready to pounce and potentially even gain a couple positions on board with Mick. Bugatti taking the inside line and back up, and Johnny is out of the race as well, and the Renault, unfortunate for him. Mick right on the rear is actually going to cause Bugatti to make a mistake, but Bugatti joins right back, trying to get it. Here comes Hellboy. He's coming on the inside as well, so Bugatti's actually going to lose 2 positions. Let's see if Mick can hold on to it. There's Hellboy on the inside, but Bugatti had to check up, and so does Mick. Can you hold it on? You have to actually go over and under 3 wide, as, what are we playing, ping pong or something? Oh my goodness gracious. Bugatti actually gets his positions back after that home stretch turn 1 squabble there, and it's just back to normal. Anyway, back here we have a little battle for the bottom positions of the points between Remco and B-More, and they're battling it out hard, mediums versus softs. Oh, and Remco loses it, and he is out. Lost his rear end there, and there you see his right front tire just hanging loosely, so unfortunate for him. 5 laps in, couldn't make it happen. But here comes Mick. He's right back on the rear of Bugatti. Let's see if he can get it off a spoon into 130R. Ferrari and the Mercedes trying to get around the Williams on board with King Mick. Well, let's jump up here. Oh, they were close. Let's jump back down here, my bad. In the DRS, Bugatti is going to be left in the dust, but here comes King Mick as Bugatti defends the inside line. You can hold on to it. Mick goes just a little bit wide. Bugatti had to check up just a bit to keep his car straight on the road there, and King Mick gets the position back. But Hellboy trying to get around the Williams driver as well. We go on the inside, now on the outside around this corner. Got to be really careful. They touch. He's going to pinch them down. Going to run them wide. And Hellboy trying to secure that position, and he does for the time being. Bugatti going to the inside around the hairpin there, and still can't get it done. Trying to use every ounce of the track to get his position back, but losing 2 positions in 1 lap, that is never good. But B-More is actually slowly caught up, but runs wide off Spoon. Actually, that could actually give him a little bit of a acceleration advantage coming off of Spoon onto this straight. Oh! B-More crashes hard into Bugatti, which is actually going to send him through. And he's going to have to dive into the pits, see part of carbon fiber on his front wing dive off there. And I'm sure Bugatti he just got a warning. So 3 drivers out. Skeeven's still in it. He's going to be the only person to not finish in the points so far, but everyone else is as good as gold, and Skeeven getting a 3-second penalty. JD getting a 3-second penalty. That's going to play into a lot, especially if he's able to pass blocks. And we'll be right back with the action, as I need to find a charger for my headphones. So we'll be right back, and we will watch the battle of JD as he can see if he can try to catch up to blocks. Alright, and we're back. Let's take a look at blocks up here as he's caught up to KB. He's been chasing them all race long. Now within just about half a second actually. His main goal is to try to get as close to as Lewis as possible. Race for to end right now. Lewis, I believe, would actually be in the lead just by a couple points, so it's actually going to be really tight between these two coming to the last couple races, which is the American Grand Prix and the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So those are the last two races of the season. Already crazy thing about the first season of the new game is done and dusted. We're actually starting to see some rain now. The people on the mediums and softs actually thought about trying to go as far in as possible and spraying in a 3-second time penalty. So when are these drivers going to come into pit for intermediates, and how long will this rain stay? We have Steven and B Moore. They were the only person to come in for wing changes, though. There's JD in the background trying to catch up. There we go, back here between Hellboy and King Mick. They left Bugatti in the dust a couple laps ago, but now the rain is starting to fall down. That could very well change things. And JD, the first one to be going into the pits, is going to be putting on the intermediates. Actually, now would be a good time to throw this up there. And Bugatti going into the pits as well. JD, the first car to throw on intermediates. I think maybe one lap a little bit too late, maybe. We'll see. Bugatti throwing on the tires as well. The DRS is no longer active due to the rain. So we'll see how well that goes, as we have two battles going on. We have between KB and Blocks, and Hellboy and Mick. So Blocks trying to get a good run off the hairpin, unable to do so. It's actually KB getting a run. As they go around Spoon, and Lewis has caught up to Brain, so I wonder what happened there. I'm pretty sure those Super Softs have run its course, especially on this wet track, so let's see if they go in. These two kind of just snuck up on me. Who's going to go in and who's going to stay out? They're both going to stay out. It looks like Brain kind of faked the entry, but Lewis is actually going to take the lead as Antonio goes into the pits, and Mick getting the 3-second time penalty as well. So Brain losing the lead, Lewis taking off. These drivers are going to be going to the pits very, very soon, probably this time around actually. King Mick is into the pits as well. Hellboy stayed out for another lap, and Block is now actually up to P3. So let's see how far he can actually separate himself from the other drivers. Let's see if Block can actually come back out as close to Lewis as he's been all race. King Mick coming out behind JD. Let's see how far behind. Looks like JD kind of drifted around there, and Mick comes out 1.3 seconds behind. As they go around the S's yet again. Let's check back here. Looks like Mick is caught up to about 2/10 or so. Kind of fluctuating just a bit. Who knows how long this rain will be here to stay. Bugatti has caught up to be more. Let's see if he can make the pass around turn one, and yes he does. Bugatti is now in the points. And we have Skeven is going to be out of the race. Or not. No, it looks like he just up and quit. It looks like just wasn't his race. He pulls off to the side, and that's going to be the end of Skeven. So everyone who finishes will get points. That is good. It's good for everyone else. Brain enters the pits. Blocks enters as well, and he's going to drop down to 6th. Actually, right behind Hellboy. So Hellboy actually passed him in the pits, it looks like. And Lewis is the only driver on track to have yet to change his tires. So, very interesting. And we have a yellow in sector 1, and JD spins his car out. Loses his rear end, I'm assuming. And Mick goes by him, and that's another point. There's more points for the Ferrari team. Let's see how far Brain can actually catch up to Lewis. Now down 21.5 seconds. Lewis on that straight before 130R. Now up 20 seconds. Let's see if Brain can actually retake the lead. If so, I'm sure it's going to be a race off pit road. Ooh, just hold on to it. Didn't hit the apex as well as you wanted it to. And Lewis is out. On the home stretch, let's see what's going to happen. Is Lewis going to come out? Brain's going to have a whole head of steam as they cross the line. Who's going to take it? Brain's going to re-enter the lead. Lewis stayed out just a lap too late. His Brain is going to take over the lead yet again. Lewis now in P2. And it looks like everyone kind of spread out doing their own thing now. Closest battle we have right now is between first and second, and Brain actually has a 3-second penalty. Totally forgot about that. Now Brain's main priority is to get ahead of Lewis by 3 or more seconds to secure that win. I'm sure Blocks is hoping the same, as he's down in the 6th place, so it's going to be drastic. That's going to be a drastic change in point standings for the Drivers' Championship, and as well as the Constructors' Championship. Only one source of points for both Red Bull and Toro Rosso. And with Bugatti and the Williams down in 9th, Lewis could potentially, it's going to be close. It's going to be close leading up into the last 2 races of the season. So it's a 4-horse race pretty much for the Constructors' Championship. Toro Rosso, Red Bull, and Williams and Ferrari. Toro Rosso was last week at Singapore. They were unable to score any points. But Brain looking to have the better setup in the rain. He's actually taken off now. About almost 3 seconds now in front of P2 of Lewis and the Williams. So sometimes the better setup, or sometimes the future setup, is the better way to go. Really helps you out in the long run. And right here it's showing we're halfway through the race, 14 down, 14 more laps to go. Round 10 of 12, Japanese Grand Prix, PlayStation Gaming League's F2 division, and the Zebra 94 for Racing Stripes Motorsports. It's been a pleasure giving you this coverage for tonight's race. Hopefully I'll be back next week, but nothing's really too certain. But I will take what I can get. So everything just kind of nice and spread out as we go through the order. We have Brain in P1, Lewis and the Williams, he's in P2. Dougie Antonio trying to score his first set of points, he's in P3 in the Sauber. And we have KB. Nice glitch. He's on enters, don't worry about that. He's in P4, Hellboy in P5. Trippy. Blocks in P6, then we have Mick in P7, JD in P8, excuse me, Bugatti in P9, and B-More in P10, and Steven, Remco, and Johnny, and Lewis all DNF. So start with 14, we are now down to just 10. All drivers will score points. Lewis is caught up in the past couple of laps. Was up 2.5 seconds. What's up, JP? Thanks for stopping on by. Appreciate it. So let's ride on board with Brain. Round a lap in the Suzuka circuit. Dives into the first corner, 5th gear down to 4th. Playing with the steering wheel is going to be a lot of steering wheel play for the drivers here, especially in these wet weather conditions. As we go around the S curves, then up Dunlop curve around turn 7. And approaching Degner curve. Got to be really careful. The wrong setup, or even the wrong setup or wrong entry, can really lose your back end and race will be over just like that. Into the hairpin around turn 10. High revving 3rd, and Lewis caught up, is now within. Oh, maybe not. Drop back down. Around turn 11 and 12, and into Spoon. Out of Spoon onto the long straightaway. Over the bridge. Around 130R. Here we go, playing with this fuel mixture. Shifts down into 3rd gear as it goes through Casio Triangle. And that is a lap around the Japanese Grand Prix with your current leader, CC Brain. He does have a 3-second time penalty, so keep that in mind. Yeah, he's looking good. Brain has a 3-second time penalty, so as long as Lewis can keep the distance close, he will be able to score the win on technicalities. So 8-point separation between Blocks and Lewis. So it's going to be a really exciting last couple of races. Harry Potter, he's stopping on by, taking time off Hogwarts. Or technically he already graduated, so never mind. So let's actually go back here. Battle between Bugatti and Beemore. The closest thing we have, really. Alright, now we go back up to the top. Trying to find some action after the pit stops. Everything just really kind of dwindled down. Those can actually make the actual physical pass on Brain. So he's now definitely caught up. Let's take a look at the telemetry. Let's see how much drivers, or not drivers. Let's see how much. See what field mixture these drivers are running in. That's what I'm trying to say. Brain and Standard, Lewis and Lean. Playing with the gears there a bit. Just outside half a second now. There you go, switched up into Rich. Brain not in Rich. About the same top speed before entering Spoon there. Now he's in full Rich, and so is Brain as well. Brain able to pull away just a bit, maybe just has a little bit more low downforce than Lewis does. Those drivers, they hadn't enriched this whole entire time. Now it throws down the lane, and he actually throws down the Standard, so. And Block's getting a 5-second stop and go penalty for exceeding track limits. Where is Blocks? He is 4 seconds ahead of King Mick. So if he doesn't go into the pits, he's going to finish with a 5-second time penalty. So that's not going to help Blocks at all, actually. I may actually hinder him. He may actually drop a spot due to it. Now because of that, we actually have another little battle between Blocks and Mick as far as time goes, unless if Mick has a 3-second penalty. So I can't remember if he does or not. Pots a sector 2 and Blocks out of the race. Loses his car around Dagner Curve, and that's going to put a DNF. That's going to put a big fat 0 points for the Red Bull driver. Oh my. That is absolutely huge. Blocks out of the race. Tried so hard. Oh, you know he's absolutely just gutted. An 8-point lead, and now it's gone, unfortunately. And Dougie actually going into the pits probably for a new set of intermediates. Oh no, championship's not over yet. There's still 2 races. He's down 8 points. It's not over yet. Hellboy now moves up to P4 KB. In the podium step after Antonio going into the pits. And Lewis and Brain, they're battling it out. So even though blocks showing 10th and DNF, just kept the DNF, so he's not going to get any points, unfortunately. So, fortunately for Beemore, he's actually get a little bit more points than I'm pretty sure than he was expecting. But Lewis still trying to catch up. Let's go back down to Hellboy and KB now. I'm sure these guys are due for new enters. Now back here. Can Brain hold on? Who's going to dive into the pits first? None of them yet. They're going to still continue to go. Will do. And Hellboy getting past KB. Now he's back on the podium. And KB and Mick are both in the pits for their second stop thrown on new enters. And Lewis getting a 3-second time penalty, so throw that 3 seconds out the window. Now going to be a straight on battle for P1. Both drivers, first and second, have 3-second time penalties. There's the intervals between the leaders. Third, 22 seconds behind Antonio, 35 seconds, but he pitted for fresh enters, so let's actually see if he can catch up. Maybe get within 3 seconds, maybe, who knows, but these two have been battling all race long ever since the drop of the green flag. Now with Lewis making a mental mistake, cutting just that corner. Now sends him where he absolutely has to pass him. And I'm sure the Singapore race is good. Actually, I really wanted to commentate that one, but I couldn't. It was working. My question is, are the top three even going to go into the pits, or are they just going to stay out here? It's going to be close. Especially on tire wear. Yeah, it won't let me. So Brain getting going a little bit faster through Sector 1 that time. Just ever so slightly. But still holding on to it nonetheless. Brain in the lead. Yeah, I will. I plan on it actually. It's on my little to-do list. 6 laps to go. Coming up on 5 laps to go here in the Japanese Grand Prix. Brain still keeping it strong, but who's going to pit first if they do decide to pit? Seven cars on the lead lap. In the draft, they still stay out. And JD gets put a lap down. So at least those two leaders won't have to worry about a lap car getting in the way. That's good for them. But Lewis getting one heck of a run off of the first corner as they enter into the S curves. You see Lewis kind of switched up his lines a bit, trying to get a better exit, trying to set up his entrance a bit to get a better exit out. No, those tires must be screaming to be changed out. I'm sure that they are done, but who's going to handle it better? Ooh, Lewis spins the tires just a bit. He's actually going to allow JD, who's a lap car, to go past him. So that's going to actually put in quite a big wedge in between them, literally. JD on fresh enters though, so I wonder if Brain's just going to let him pass on the straight so he doesn't have to worry about holding up a lap car. Because Lewis may actually try to take advantage of this. We have 5 laps to go. So JD in the draft, but JD's going to have to make some space between them so he doesn't get penalties for ignoring blue flags. And JD going on the inside, CC Brain just lets him pass. There's a scary part though as Lewis catches right back up on the rear of the Ferrari. Past the pits yet again, none of them pit. They are very stubborn. Hellboy hasn't pit either. On board with Lewis. And the draft just getting sprayed up with water to the face, obscuring his vision just a bit. You hear the lean engine revs compared to Brain's regular revs, and Lewis, the lean revs really help out with the traction coming out of the corners in the wet weather. Brain started on the pole, and Lewis started in second, so they really haven't changed much. JD getting a 5-second stop-go penalty for ignoring the blue flag. And it came out the wrong time, unfortunately. He's trying to set himself up. And here's the thing, is that JD's actually faster than them on fresh enters. So very interesting how that goes. Hellboy moving up 11 positions though. These two are still battling it out. 4 laps to go. Are any of these guys going to pit? I don't think so. I think they're going to stick it out until the end. I think at this point it actually might be a little bit too late. So who's going to be able to manage their tires better? As we just have 3 laps to go. So we're on lap 25. Can Brain hold on to the lead? Can Lewis pass him? We do have a caution in Sector 1. JD looks like to lose his car. Or maybe just slowed way down. Just so he doesn't get another 5-second stop and go penalty. Rain still out in the lead. Looking back. On board with Lewis in the draft, trying to catch up. That doesn't help. Oh, Lewis going a little bit too tight in. But here we go. Lewis actually gets the better run. They're side by side now. Who's going to check up? Who's going to be the brave soul that goes in on these really warm tires? Going to go on the inside. Do they touch? No, they're still going to keep it side. Oh, they almost touched just a bit. Lewis almost hit the rear of CC Brain, but checked off just in time. Great car control from these drivers, and they still hold on to it all in one piece. I'm pretty sure if Lewis was able to tap Brain just a bit, that would have been the end of Brain, and Lewis would have gone on to victory. But still holding on. 2 laps to go. Unfortunate for Dougie. He had a podium locked in, but went into pit side by side. They touched, as I was talking about someone else. Not this battle. Lewis on the inside of the hairpin gets the lead, but Brain's going to be fighting right back there side by side. He's going to try to push him out into the grass, which is very dangerous, especially with these two. Brain goes into the grass, which is going to slow him down quite a bit, and Brain's going to lose his car as he goes way wide off the spoon, and Lewis is going to burst into the lead, which is 2 laps to go. Really big mental lapse by Brain there, just fighting so hard and just, I'm sure, just accidentally just lost focus just for 1 split second. But the race still is not over. We still have 1 more lap left. Anything can happen. Lewis could cut a corner. We do have a caution in sector 3 now. I wonder what happened there. Probably JD, I'm assuming. Yep, does slow down. Now Bugatti actually caught up to JD. So on board with Lewis. Let's see if he can keep it clean for the last lap. Not cut any corners. Gonna be tough. Little blocks leaving the session, unfortunate for him. And Bugatti getting past JD along with B-More. So I wonder what's going on with JD. Looks like to finish in 9th, unfortunately. Oh, never mind. Let's be squandering for position back there. But Lewis up 1.5 seconds. Just 1 time penalty, 3-second time penalty. Brain losing focus, was unable to come up, and Brain getting a 10-second time penalty, but it's not going to matter. Brain's still going to finish 2nd, and Lewis is going to take the win here in Japan, and he's going to be your new Formula 2 Drivers Championship leader after blocks DNF'd midway through the race. So congratulations to Lewis Hellboy, finishing on the podium as well. Looks like Dougie Antonio finishing 4th. KB is going to be in 5th. Mick in 6th. B-More in 7th. Good showing from him. Just waiting on the rest of the drivers to finish up. Unbelievable battle between the top 2 all race long. There is your current leader in the championship. And JD DNF'd, so I don't think that's going to give him any points. As we're just waiting on Bugatti to finish up. And there you go, Lewis finishing 1st. He's on the top step after a hard-fought battle. as we go to the podium for the post-race celebrations. High pressure situation for all these drivers, especially Lewis. Now Lewis has the lead in the championship. Got 2 races to hold on to it. So now there's just as much pressure on Lewis as there is on Blocks going into USA next week. Awesome, very awesome, exciting race. Hellboy moving from 14th to 3rd. He is my personal driver of the day, for sure. But nonetheless, great racing from all these drivers who finished. Unfortunate for the drivers who did not, but there's always next race to come back out. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm the Zebra94, representing Racing Stripes TV. Subscribe if you haven't. Follow me on Twitter at the Zebra94, and we will see you whenever. Not sure when my next not sure when my next broadcast will be. Nonetheless, thanks for joining me, and you guys have a good night.